qué lo que, guau. Saludos mi gente, wherever you're at. Que la que hay. Pasaré. Órale. ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Cómo tú estás? All right. Enough of the greetings. So, if you like content based on, in perspective, based on real actual stories, actual events, and talking to the people, you came to the right YouTube channel. So, Rico Toro, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Always best to reach me via email, which is in the description. So, we're going to talk about respect. Respeto. So, a lot of people, most people, think that it's common sense, just common courtesy. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Respect them. You give respect, you get respect. Respect is not given, it's earned. There's a lot of cliches around respect. But in Dominican Republic, culture is a little bit different. So sometimes what one person sees as respect or disrespect may vary to popular opinion here. So a couple simple rules. And this is about, a lot of these things can apply like to both women or men here. The piece about women though, we're not talking about all Dominican women or all Latin women. We're talking about a certain type of woman. She might be a little more broken, have a little more issues. You know, she might have suffered some abuse, some trauma, and so on, that makes her a little bit different breed when it comes to trying to gain or command respect from her. And then there's also like respect when it comes to like street hustlers. You know, whether it's men or women or anybody here, unless you know them well, be direct. The best thing is yes or no, sí or no gracias. But when you use words like maybe, probably tomorrow, you know, say you're walking along the beach and you tell 7 different street beach vendors that you'll be back to their store tomorrow or later. Well, guess what? They're already counting that money. It's what I call the assumed sale. So it's best to, if you want them to leave you alone and not be looking for you later, it's best to be direct and say, no gracias. Or you know, I'm just walking, I'm not shopping. You know, solo caminando, no comprando. Usually when I used to come down for vacation, usually by like day 2 or 3, before I said anything, they would look my direction and say the same thing I'm about to say. Solo caminando, no comprando. You know, I'm just walking, not shopping. So anyways, that's that. And then you have like your you know, a lot of guys get, you know, hot up under the collar, or, you know, let like, you know, panhandlers or begging get under their skin. Well, a simple way to deal with that is just tell them no. Like let's say I'm eating, and I learned this from watching a couple of expats, and also I learned things still from other tourists, but watching a couple of expats that I noticed that get a lot of respect. You know, not just in Sosúa, but other parts of the island. And, you know, if someone tries to sell them something or interrupts them while they're eating, they don't get bothered, they don't get frustrated. They just go like this. The Dikembe Mutombo wave. Or, you know, it's like, you know, they're saying, oh, can you help me out? They just do this. Or, and then go about their business. Look down, continue eating. But if you look over, you know, at your people you're with or whatever, or you're like making a thing like, what is this guy still doing here, still standing here, whatever, they think that you're engaging them. You know, you're talking, so to them, still an option that maybe they'll wear you down and you'll give in. But if you can learn to just focus on what you're doing, eventually they'll get tired of waiting and move on. So, um, those are two things. Now, got a little story for you, like usual. You know, I'm always, some point you follow along enough, you can always know that there's little hints here and there in a story, real life situation. So, I think when it comes to dealing with the women here, you have to give them a little bit of what they're used to up until they started dealing with gringos, or what they get from other Dominicans. And, you know, many of us were brought up to be kind and considerate and generous, and those are all wonderful qualities. I wouldn't suggest anybody change if those are your core values, I wouldn't suggest anyone change who they are at the core. You know, don't change you being you. You know, this is just about commanding respect, and it requires you be, you know, a little bit firm. And, you know, like, yes, I understand that they're very willy-nilly with their time, or lack of time, or punctuality and things, but, you know, that's them. But for us, I think it works best when we're very firm and direct. You know, one thing I like to say is firme pero justo. I'm firm, but I'm fair. You know, so, and, you know, like anything else, like they consider like mixed signals, gives them false hope. You know, like when guys, you know, suggest to a papita, you know, if you do X, Y, and Z, you know, I'll give you a big propina, big tip or whatever. Well, all that extra stuff just confuses them, and they start counting on it anyways. So it's best to just be firm, fair from the get-go. And, you know, so when I mean give them a little bit what they're used to. Sometimes, you know, you don't want to put your hand. I'm not suggesting, like, if they came from a violent past, I'm not suggesting you put your hands on them. I don't want to see anybody get arrested. You know, and I probably, quite frankly, won't be the one to come bail you out. So I'm just saying, like, you know, be a little machismo can go a long way. You know, give you an example. A couple years back, you know, I was in Boca Chica with one of my old favoritas. I did another story on her. She's in Santo Domingo, and she came to see me there, staying with me a couple of days. And one night we're in the club, and Club Bate there, it's usually kind of depending on the night, a good mix between tourists and also locals. Well, on this particular night, you know, a lot of times she respected my bachata, my silkiness on the floor at the loci. But this was one night where she wasn't. Well, I like grabbed her hand to dance, and she was just like, no. And I was pretty drunk, so, you know, next thing you know, she's got attitude, so I got attitude. I'm like, no. How you gonna say no? And next thing you know, I sort of grab her by the arm. I didn't snatch her. I didn't do no Ike Turner stuff. I grab her by the arm, and I'm like, vámonos, let's go. So I start walking down the steps and out. You know, I'm like a foot ahead of her. And she starts roaring, running her mouth so loud. And what do? She's at like level 8. I go to like 8.5 to 9. You know, we're arguing, making a lot of noise for like a block and a half to the room. And I know 99 out of 100 times I'm going to lose every argument in Spanish, every argument with a woman here. And I'm okay with that. But it's not going to stop me from talking and being a little loud, because I'd rather, even if I know I'm going to lose the argument, the worst thing for me is I don't want to look like a soft gringo in the street, you know, with these girls. And, you know, but we eventually got back and actually had to go to Google Translator to sort this out, because emotions are running so high, and things calm down. But I mean, that's just one example. Like I say, I gave her a little bit of what she's used to. Because if I was to, if I was to play the sensitive, like, oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, and all this, and how can I make it, I wouldn't get her attention. But like, the next day or so, she was just, I could see it. I could see it in her eye that my respect stock had just risen like 5 to 10 points, because she was putting it on me. She was, just doing whatever I asked, like as far as just if I send her to the store or just any little thing, helping me out or making my life easier and making me to where I didn't have to do nothing. And we're still cool to this day. And so, I've just learned that, and I've had several conversations with Dominican dudes. I've had several conversations with Dominican women and also Latin women away from here. And they'll always say that, a little machismo, sometimes some will say that they don't like that, and they really don't. However, there's others that will say, oh, they like, they like gringos because they're so nice and so, calm and easy and caring and sensitive. But on the flip side, they're craving that machismo because that's all they know. That's all they know sometimes. So that's what they miss. It happens all the time. Like guys, gringos get a Dominican girlfriend or something, and even young guys, they could be about the same age as a girl. Gringo gets a Dominican girl, regular girl from the campo or something, not a street papita. And next thing you know, she's cheating on the dude. The guy's doing everything for her. She's happy, everything. But next thing you know, she's cheating on him with a Dominican. And it's because that Dominican, knows it's that machismo. It's kind of like telepathy, I guess. You gotta know where they come from and what they're used to. And sometimes, like I said, no matter how dark and how messed up their past and background is, sometimes giving them, like I said, I'm not condoning any kind of violence or roughing nobody up, but let's face it, there's something to be said when these young girls rather you beat it up to some reggaeton versus, make all kinds of love to some Mark Anthony or Romeo Santos. That's what I'm talking about, because that's what they know. A little bit of rough, a little bit of extra passion is what they're looking for. So anyways, for those of y'all that thought that I was gonna make a respect video about other YouTubers, disrespecting the people or whatever they do, that's not what I'm about. The only time I'll mention other YouTubers if there's someone I respect and I have something positive to say and give them a positive shout out. But I'm not buying into the YouTube politics or any YouTube beefs. That's just not how I roll. So anyways, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for following along. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.